Hello. How are we doing tonight? How are we doing tonight? Oh my gosh, what a long day it's been. So, I got up today and I had to go into my office for a meeting. And, I did a bunch of stuff at home first. I, straightened up around the house and uploaded my vlog, and then I went in for my meeting. And then I came home and had to film a video. I had errands to run this afternoon, and so then I filmed my video for my main channel, and then I had to get ready really quick because we had marriage counseling at 6 tonight, which went really well. And then Alex came home, and I went to my home group meeting with Tanya, because I changed my home group meetings. It used to be on Sunday nights, but now I'm going back to Tuesday nights again because it kind of meets my schedule a little bit more. And plus, I miss having a home group with Tanya. It was like our thing for years and years and years, and I don't know, I just miss it. So since I changed sponsors and stuff, it's like there's no reason for that Sunday night meeting to be my home group, really. And so we went to the meeting tonight, and there's just certain times that I go to a meeting that I'm like, I don't know, I just feel so spiritually connected when I leave. And we're in a really small, I sat with Tanya, we split up into groups this meeting. There's 40 people that come, and they split up into 4 groups, and our group was really small. We had 6 people in there, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 people in there. 7 people. And we talked about anger and rage and as a character defect, and how to work through it. And each person just shared really personal things that they had dealt with recently about anger and rage, and how even though and the sobriety in that circle ranged anywhere from Tanya has 22 years, I have 23 years, there's a guy in there that had 5 years, somebody that had 7 months, another guy that had 5 years and then went back out and now has 6 months, and then a newcomer. And it's interesting when you talk about anger and rage, and having worked in the field for years and years and years, I know that anger is a secondary emotion covering fear, hurt, pain, and that a lot of times with anger and rage, we want the other person to feel what we're feeling. We want them to feel the hurt, pain that we're feeling. And it was interesting when we were talking about it, and each person went through, and it wasn't planned, it kind of ended up that way, that every person was sharing the incident that they had gone through recently, but then historically, how they had been taught anger or rage growing up, by a parent or by somebody in their life. And it was just, I don't know, it was just, I left there and I felt so peaceful. And it was just a really great meeting tonight. So I came home, and I was so hungry. I had not eaten all day long. And so I got something to eat on the way home, and then I sat at home and I watched, what did I watch? Oh, I started watching that Log Cabin, whatever, and then I got bored of that, so I turned on American Idol. Alex went next door to our neighbor's house and was hanging out with her. And so he's like, oh, we're just sitting over here talking about Game of Thrones or something. So he was like, you can come over if you want. Excuse me, but I was so tired. By that point, it was 10 o'clock. And I was honestly, I was okay, Peter, go vlog now because you're tired. And if you fall asleep now, you're going to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, which is what ended up happening. And, but I was just go vlog now. And I was I think I'll just lay down for an hour with the pups until Alex gets home. So I laid down with the dogs, and then Alex came in about a half an hour after that, and came upstairs, and we talked for a little bit, and then he watched like one TV show and went to bed. And I turned my alarm on my phone off, and I fell asleep until about like 1:45, something like that, I think. Anyway, and then I got up and I did the bills for April, which is always really fun. I cannot believe I'm looking at this and the battery on this camera is dead. I cannot believe it. It's been sitting at home all day long, plugged in, and I must have had it on. Like, if you charge the battery when the camera is on, it doesn't charge, so I don't know how long this will go. I cannot believe I did that. What is this little swoop that is going on? Look at my hair from just waking up. I actually looked kind of cute, too, when I went to the meeting and counseling tonight. But yeah, so I did the bills for April. I always feel good, like, I know this is so cheesy, but it's like when I get the majority of the bills done, I feel better. I feel like, oh, like I can take a breath, you know, like I don't have to worry about stuff for a while. And I've gone through so many periods of my life when I've either gone through periods in my life where, like, I'm making really good money or I'm making really shit money. It never seems like it's in between. And, you know, I've learned through the years to be good with saving money. I've done a lot of, like, vlogs and a lot of, like, Peterisms videos about, like, saving money and paying off debt and stuff like that. But, and I believe in paying yourself first and all of that. But, like, for me, as long as I have, like, the bills paid, I always feel a little bit safer, if that makes sense. And, I don't know, it's just really nice. I'm, like, really working hard right now on getting, like, everything in my life completely paid off. Like, I want the house down to a certain point. I want to get the car completely paid off, and then I want to drive this car into the ground and not have a car payment for a couple years. And I'm, like, working on all that stuff. So yeah, like, Alex and I have been, like, in the last, like, year, it's been interesting. Like, he's either made more money than me or I've made more money than him, but we've been, like, doing okay. Like, the last year is, like, year or two has been good for us. Like, not astronomical, but we've been okay, you know what I mean? And we were talking about it on this trip, and I'm like, we have to be really, really smart with money. Like, we have to think about this, you know, so that 6 months or a year down the road, we're not, like, worried about money, you know. And he was like, no, I totally agree. Like, we've been good lately with saving money. We haven't taken a trip in the last year that we couldn't pay for with cash, which that has been a really big deal. I cannot explain to you guys what it feels like unless you've done it, and then you'll know what I'm talking about, to pay for a trip with cash. I mean, it hurt my bank account a little bit, but, like, the whole time that I was in Miami, I knew I wasn't coming back to have to pay it off on a credit card. You know what I mean? Like, that was really nice. And we've done that for, like, the last year, and I guess it's almost been, like, the last 2 years that we've done that. We're, like, we really haven't, we kind of made a joint decision to not really use credit cards anymore. And if we didn't have the money to spend if we didn't have the cash, then we weren't gonna, you know, we weren't gonna buy it because we didn't need to buy it. And I've gotten, like, really good with that through the years. And, you know, like, the thing that's interesting is, like, Alex buys, like, clothes or shoes, but, like, he very much, like, thinks it through, like, what he's buying, and then, like, researches it and all that kind of stuff. Like, he would never, like, so for him to go spend, like, $100 on a pair of shoes is what he does. Whereas, like, I'll go into Walmart or Meijer and walk around with Tanya and just buy a bunch of shit that I don't need. You know, I mean, not that I don't need, but, like, you know, some kind of new body wash and, you know, air freshener and a different kind of, like, Keurig coffee. And before you know it, you're at $100, right? And you walk out when you came in there for deodorant. I'm sure somebody else out there is like me on that, you know? And it's like, if you do that a couple times a month, it's like you've bought $500 worth of stuff that you really don't need. And it's like I've become like a smarter shopper that way. Like I don't have any problems like walking through Meijer or walking through Walmart with Tanya and not getting one thing. Like, because if I don't need anything, I'm like, why am I buying things I don't need, you know? And that's really helped me out a lot, like financially. I think like one of the things that I would suggest, like people always ask me about like money management. They're like, you seem to be so good with it. It's like, I really ask myself the difference between like wants and needs. And it doesn't mean that like I don't buy things that I want, like, but I don't buy 10 things of what I want, if that makes sense. Like, I'm very realistic about it. Like, I've had the same pair of Birkenstock sandals now for like, God, like 10 years, if not more. And I'm like, I want a new pair of Birkenstock sandals for the summer. They're falling apart. You know, they could last another summer, another 2 summers probably. But I'm like, I want a new pair. I wear them the entire summer. You know, I got a new pair of those Sperry's. And so those will be like my, you know, casual going out shoe this summer. And, but I'm like, I want a new pair of Birkenstock sandals. They're expensive, they're pricey, but I'll use them every day. And, you know, back in the day, I would have been like, well, I want 2 pairs of Birkenstocks and a pair of this. And I mean, it's just like, I don't need that stuff anymore, you know? And the other thing that has like really been like good for me lately is like I've been thinking a lot about like the power of $1. And what I mean by that is like, you know, the whole kind of old adage that like pennies make dollars. And so I know it sounds crazy, but like anytime that I can like pinch pennies, so to speak, right? So like if I go through Starbucks, which I could just eliminate Starbucks completely out of my life and save a lot of money, honestly. And I think about it a lot. But it's like the one thing I treat myself to. I mean, like, I've been drinking this all day long, you know? And, but when I was going through my receipts tonight, because, you know, I go through all my receipts and I add them all together and then I round up and then I put them in my checkbook, so I always know exactly how much money I have at any given point. So I would also recommend that to people, not just look on what you have online. But, like, this is $4.09 for a cold brew. But just an iced coffee is like $3.20 something, I think it is, $3.40 something. So you're talking about the difference between 60 and 80 cents. Well, that doesn't sound like a lot, right? But when you get a coffee every day for a week, you're talking about the difference of, you know what, $4 or $5 a week, which is $250 a year. It is a difference. And when you think about that with a lot of things, you know, then you start penny pinching. And one of the things that's interesting is like my friend Melissa, who you guys know from the vlogs, I mean, she and her husband, they are not hurting for money at all. At all. And she is like one of those extreme couponer people. Like, she doesn't ever pay full price for anything. And you know, she has very nice purses. You know, she's just recently showing us this Gucci messenger bag or Gucci fanny pack that she got, that she hunted down, and she wanted to have a specific kind and all this kind of stuff. And I can remember like years ago when we first met, I went into her house and she had like all of this toilet paper that she had just got at Walgreens. And I go, oh my God, look at all this toilet paper. And she was like, yeah, she was like, I had this coupon that was unlimited at Walgreens, so you could buy as many as you wanted. And she was like, and it was buy one, get the other one for free. And then it was like so much off if you were this. And so she was like, I ended up getting like all of this for like $10. And I mean to tell you, it was like, honest to God, probably 200 rolls of toilet paper. I go, you did not get all this for $10. She's like, yeah. And I said, Melissa, I said, I don't understand. You like are not hurting for money, then like, why are you doing this kind of stuff? And she goes, because if I spend less money on things that I don't have to, she was like, it allows me to buy the things that I want to buy. And she's very smart with money, you know? And I love that about people, that when I learn little tricks from them about what to do, you know? And I always look at people that are successful with money and kind of try to learn their little tricks, you know? Like, my dad is very successful with money. and he doesn't use credit cards. And his attitude has always been my entire life, my allergies are driving me crazy today. His attitude has always been, if I don't have the cash to buy it, I don't have the money to buy it. And, there have been many times in my life that I have been in heavy credit card debt, and I think it's a really good motto to live by, that if you don't have the money for it, if you don't have it, the cash to pay for it, you don't have the money to buy it. Now, the thing that's bad about that is, and I do have credit cards because I save them for emergencies, like if a furnace goes out or if a water heater goes out, then you're in a screwed situation. We had a furnace go out a couple years ago, and we didn't really know what we were going to do. They gave us a price estimate of $5,000 because it was the air conditioner went out. But we needed a new furnace too. We needed a whole new system. And the guy was we got 3 different bids, and the average in all 3 bids was $5,000. It was a really fair bid. And so we were like, okay, this is what we're going to have to spend. And we're like, where do you come up with that kind of money if you don't have savings? I think, the majority of people out there can't just cold write a check for $5,000. I used to believe that people could. I used to believe that the majority of the people out there could just cold write a check for 20 grand, and I just don't think that's true anymore. And I remember when I worked in treatment, if somebody came in on a weekend and insurance doesn't do pre-approvals on weekends, they don't do pre-certifications because they're closed for the weekend, right? So they can't approve it till Monday. So let's say if you come in on a Saturday, well, what they would say is, we'll admit you, but because we can't, pre-cert the stay, we don't know if insurance is going to pay for it or not, you have to leave it. It was a $4,000 check. And I can remember thinking to myself, if this was my kid on a Friday night and they were screwed up out of their mind and I was terrified that they were going to die, I would not be able to write a $4,000 check. I just wouldn't. I don't have that. I never had that kind of savings before, And now the thing is, today I do, not tons, but I have some savings, but I don't touch it ever. Now this year, I'm using a little bit of it to get my mom a gravestone because it's been 10 years and it's time. And I was thinking about that the other day. That's something that I've always kind of put that on the back burner because my mom was it was something that she didn't care about, didn't mean anything to her. And I really didn't, every time it came up, every spring, I was I don't have the money for this. It was an extra, couple thousand that I was I just don't have the money for the stone and the internment. And this year I have purposely, in the last year, every month set so much aside so that when spring came around I could do this. And it's interesting that in the last 2 years, month by month, I've crossed one thing off my list that I said that I was going to do. And I'm kind of almost at the point where I'm I've got almost all those things crossed off, where I feel okay, I'm a regular human being now. You know what I mean? So today was good. Today was a good day. And, very peaceful day. It was warm all day. It was 68 and very blustery. And then it's snowing right now, little light flurries. And it dropped tonight to, it's 37. So it went from 68 to 37. We had a cold front move into Indianapolis. And I didn't know that we were supposed to have a cold front. If it just cuts off because of the battery, you guys, I apologize. I always say that and then it never does that. So I'm thinking tonight I didn't say anything, so it'll probably do it. But it is April. It's April 4th, and we're still having snow. This is crazy. It's this is this is the first year in a long time it's been like this. Couple exciting things I want to announce. So, I had mentioned on here that I was going to do a VC Andrews book read-along on my BookTube channel. So if you guys ever read VC Andrews books back in the day, Flowers in the Attic and all of that. We're going to start with My Sweet Audrina, which is the standalone. Although when I was looking through it, apparently there's like a sequel to it that was written like years later, not by V.C. Andrews, but by one of her ghostwriters. So that is going to start the 15th of this month on my channel. And then starting the 30th, we're going to start reading Heaven. And every 2 weeks, we're going to read a book. So we're going to read the Heaven series. But what I decided to do on my BookTube channel is that I'm going to have a book club, Peter's Book Club. And I want to pick really like fun pop culture books to read. So it's not going to be like Oprah's Book of the Month Club, okay? It's going to be like fun books. Like books that, like, I'm thinking about doing like Lucky by Jackie Collins and Lace by Shirley Conran and the V.C. Andrews books, like really kind of like cult classics to some degree. I want to read Valley of the Dolls. I've never read Valley of the Dolls. But kind of those kind of books, you know what I mean? I think that would be really fun. And so that's going to start in 2 weeks because I want everybody to have a chance to go get My Sweet Audrina. I don't have a copy of it, so I've got to find my copy of it. That video is going to go up on my BookTube channel, well, Wednesday. So you guys can go over there. It's going to be, I think the video is called Welcome to My BookTube channel, my book club. And I will give more details later about that. So feel free to join along. I hope you do. I'm going to do live streams. I'm going to dedicate one live stream every 2 weeks to the book club, where we have a book discussion about the book that we're reading at that time, and it'll be like a live chat and things like that. So I'm really excited about that. That will be very cool. That's the first thing. Okay. Oh my God, what was that? Just flew at my car. I was like, it's so windy outside. It was like a paper bag or something, but my God, it scared. Did you see that? My Lord. The next one, you guys, like, shocked the shit out of me. I don't even know where it came from, okay? So, Alex comes home. Alex comes home from being at our neighbor's house tonight, right? So, he's sitting there in bed, and he's like, he's like kind of like beating around the bush. I was kind of worried at first. And he was like, so there's something that I've been really thinking about today that I think I kind of wanted to talk to you about. And I was like, oh shit. I go, well, we were in marriage counseling. Why didn't you bring it up then? And he was like, because our marriage counseling session was really good, but it wasn't like about anything really deep. Like today we talked about not being on our phones as much on like dates, and that we're going to dedicate, like, when we go out on dates, not taking our phone out of the car with us into the restaurant. That's going to be our new thing. And well, and I want to make this very clear. This is like, because we go out to dinner so much that these are dates. So these would not just be like us meeting for dinner. We put some very strict rules around it. And that when we're at home in bed at night, that like for the last half an hour before we both go to sleep or before he goes to sleep, that we won't be on our phones. We're just going to like connect. We talked a lot about it, and we talked about it because I had read this article talking about like celebrities' love contracts. I mentioned it on my main channel. And in there, Mark Zuckerberg, who started Facebook, his wife put into their love contract when they got married that she gets 100 non-cyber hours a week with him, and that she gets 1 date a week with no phone. And I really thought about it, and you know, it's like when we were in Miami, it was interesting because what I noticed was that, like, a lot of times, and it wouldn't be always, like, there were a lot of times that we were out to eat that we wouldn't have our phones out, but then if one of us did, we both did. It was kind of like our go-to. And Alex and I both love social media, you know, so it's just easy to pick up the phone. I think a lot of people probably relate to that. But, like, it's not a blame thing, because it's not him any more than me or me any more than him. I brought it up, actually. I said, you know what? Because this is what I said to the counselor. I said, here's the thing, is I said, I noticed that, like, we're both on social media, but neither one of us has a problem with it. Like, that's the problem, right? And Alex kind of laughed, and he's like, yeah, I've noticed that too. And I said, the thing is that at the end of the day, when Alex has worked 8 hours, and I've been working all day long, and I said, I like to sit down at dinner, like we went to Puccini's the other night, and just had like a real laid-back dinner. It wasn't expensive, it was just kind of relaxing at the end of the day. That is not a dinner that I care if we're on the phone. Like, I don't really, you know, we talk while he'll show me a meme, I'll show him something that I found. It's like, I don't mind in that moment, but it's when we go on like dates where we get dressed nice for each other and we go out that, like, then I don't want us to be on the phone. You know what I mean? Both of us. Not him, not me, it's both of us. So we talked about that tonight. But anyway, so he came home and he goes, well, I've been thinking about something today that I wanted to kind of run by you. I'm like, uh-oh. He's being real kiss-assy right now. What's this going to be about? And, oh, it went back up to 20%, which means I probably have about 10 or 15 minutes, 26%, 10 or 15 more minutes left before this cuts off. And he's like, well, actually, I thought about it the whole time that we were in Miami because I was just so inspired by you. And I go, what? I had no idea where this was going, okay? You guys are gonna die when I tell you. So, he goes, you know, I'm not with you every day. He goes, I don't see, like, your day where you're, like, planning out videos and you're, like, writing down notes. Like, he doesn't see me, like, write down notes of, like, I mean, I literally write down ideas for, like, my Peterisms channel of, like, what I want to talk about and, like, is this good, is this stupid? And some of my favorite videos on the Peterisms channel is when I just wing it. Like, I don't really think about it. But, like, my BookTube channel, like, if I do book tags, I have to search them up, I have to look for them. I mean, it takes some time, and I love it, right? And so when we were by the pool and stuff, he would see me sit there and, like, watch BookTube video after BookTube video, or if some drama was going on, you know, I'd be like reading Reddit, and then I would cross-reference it with like tweets and like look for the tweets, and I'd be like, oh, Alex, did you see this? And I'd be telling him that, and he's like, you're so passionate about YouTube. And I was like, yeah, like, I've said that for months now. And he's like, yeah, but I didn't really see it. Like, you get so excited about it, you love it. And I was like, yeah. Like, it was kind of funny to me that he said it, you know? And I go, so what was it that you were thinking about? And he goes, well, I think he was like, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be a bullshit artist and act like I haven't had the conversation with him where I told him it would be, like, fun if we both did it. But, like, so he goes, well, he goes, I think I might start my own YouTube channel. What would you think about that? I looked at him, I go, are you kidding me? You know, I'm trying to be encouraging, but at the same time, like, he now likes to be in vlogs. He now likes to be in the videos, you know? It's funny, he'll be like, oh, are you gonna vlog today? Or, you know, like, hey, do you want to do a video together or whatever? He enjoys it. And I really think that what Alex enjoys the most is you guys reaching out to him. Because he constantly on the trip would show me, he'd be like, oh, look, he's like, here's somebody that watches your videos and she sent me this, isn't this so nice? And one of the things that really meant the world to me, and I'm actually going to pull over here because I want to see if I can find it. Somebody Snapchatted this to me and I saved it. I hope to God I did not delete it. Hold on a second. All photos. But Alex had said something in a video, and she, where is it? Oh, here comes the car. It's probably gonna be a police officer, and I'm gonna be like, okay, I think I deleted it. But Alex said he made a quote in a video about dreams, and I don't know who you are out there that did this, but like, it meant so much to me. She had written on the top of her journal Alex's quote, and you know, people are always making like memes of me now and things, and I live for that. I love it so much, right? Because I never in a million years thought that would be my life. I love it. But to see somebody Snapchat me, I'm just so happy that people see in my husband what I see in him. And the quote was something like, dreams are not just for sleep. You can make them into reality, or something like that. And she had his quotations around it, and then she put, Oh, it's gonna stop, you guys. It's like 29. I'll be right back. Okay, I let it cool down for just a second. So anyway, she had put this quote at the top of her journal, and then she took a screenshot of it, and she sent it to me. And I don't know why it meant so much to me, you know? But anyway, I showed it to him. I was so excited, and he just was very humble about it, and he was just like, oh, that's cute, you know? And I was like, Alex, like... Anyway, but... He loves when you guys contact him, and I think that's the piece he really likes and that he really sees is like the genuine interaction, you know, with people via social media and stuff like that. And because, you know, I'll tell him the stories that you guys send me. I'll be like, oh my God, you know, this person so-and-so, or this person so-and-so, or, you know, like... I mean, he knows some of the people that, like, comment on my videos and stuff, because I'll talk about you guys. And, he's like, I cannot believe that people open up to you about their lives like this. And I was like, I mean, sometimes I can't either, but I said, Alex, at this point, it just kind of feels like this open dialogue. I said, it doesn't feel, you know, it feels very real, just like, I mean, I'll probably never meet these people, some of them, but, like, it feels like I know a lot of them, you know, and so, he started talking about this tonight, and I have to tell you, now, y'all know what I do on my main channel, right? I critique channels and tell them what they should do. So now imagine my husband sitting there in front of me telling me that he's going to start a YouTube channel and what he's going to do, and I'm like, okay, Peter, zip it. Because I've just always thought it would be fun. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is when, like, I'm gonna have to say this very carefully because I don't want to end up doing it and then be the biggest hypocrite in the entire world. But one of my biggest pet peeves is when, like, YouTubers have their partners start channels, not because that partner wants to, but because when it, you know, let's just get you to the top and all this kind of stuff. I don't like that. But I did think it would be really fun if, like, Alex had his channel and I had my channel, and then we would, like, talk about different stuff, you know, and, like, because our channels weren't going to be the same ever. It's not like he's going to get on there and do drama. Although, I have to tell you that my husband would be phenomenal at drama because he gives no shits, okay? None whatsoever. He would be so good at drama, but he doesn't care about that stuff. And so I said to him, I go, well, what would you do on your channel? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, like, I would do, like, a music day where I talked. So his would be very formatted. He goes, I would do, like, a music day where I would talk about, like, you know, music that I like, and then I would do, like, clothing hauls, and I would, like, do hair tutorials of, like, you know, how to, like, you know, use, like, different curl products and curly hair, and how to straighten your hair for men, and, you know, things like that, and, like, the perfect present to buy for your, you know, husband or boyfriend, or the perfect gift to buy for your girlfriend or wife or whatever. And I said, I actually think that's good. I think, you know, for you that would be, like, really good. And then I was like, and then you could do, like, a story time because you're so funny at telling stories. And he kind of just looked at me and I go, or whatever you want to do. Like, you could do whatever you want to do. And that's where I'm going to have to just zip it and keep my mouth shut, you know? And, but I was kind of like, and he's like, well, we'll have to see. I don't know if I'll do it or not. He'll probably say tomorrow, like, it was just talk. I'm not going to do it. But, like, I was kind of really excited for a second. I was like, that would be really fun, you know? And, the thing is that I think would be nice is it would be, like, one of the things that people ask a lot is, like, you guys seem to have a lot of differences. Like, does that work for you or against you? I think as far as our careers, like, okay, here's the thing. Like, music-wise, like, we both love electronic dance music, and he really introduced me to it. I mean, I loved dance music before, like club dance music, but he really introduced me to, like, electronic dance music. But I love country, he hates country, okay? I love folk music, he hates folk music. But then he, like, loves certain kinds of music that I'm just, like, I don't even want to say it on here because y'all will come for me, but he loves like Coldplay and that kind of, I just don't get into all that, you know, and I like the mixes, but I just don't like the regular of it, you know, and so, like, as far as our interests being different, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I will say one thing as far as our careers being very different is that I think that it really works to our advantage, because when we sit down at dinner at the end of the day, it's like we're not both lawyers talking about our, you know, clients of the day, or so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, we're sharing different things. And I think that would be one thing that would be fun on YouTube, is that I think that, like, to live with somebody else that was doing it would make me, especially if they were doing something completely different than I was, would make me kind of like challenge myself to look at the gig from a different point of view, if that makes sense. Not on this channel or my Peterson's channel, but like on my main channel. You know, to look at it from a different point of view and be like, oh, that's interesting that he did that. You know, like, well, maybe I could like incorporate some kind of idea like that into mine. But like recently I've been thinking about like doing, like, people ask me all the time to do favorites videos, and I kind of want to do a least favorite video like every month. Well, here are two things I've been thinking about. Number one is doing a least favorites video about products that I got that I was excited about that I can't stand, that I wouldn't waste your money on. And the other thing that I'm going to start to do is, I think that, like, you know how people do these sponsored videos, which I'm totally for, okay? Like, do them, get your money. I think that's great if it's a product that you really believe in. But I'm thinking about starting, like, at the beginning of my video to say, like, I almost don't want to say this because I think it's such a cute idea. You guys will either be like, yeah, that's cute, or that is totally dumb, Peter. But to say this video is not sponsored by, like, Gain fabric softener because I love it so much. You know what I mean? And just, like, hold it up. And I would really, like, have products at the beginning of my videos that it's not sponsored by, just to show products that I really love. Because I think that, like, there's so many people out there that are doing sponsored videos about products that they don't love, that I might as well endorse products that I love, even if they're not paying me to endorse them. Why wouldn't I, you know? Like how much I talked about Bob Evans. God, I miss Bob Evans. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I love being a vegetarian. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I really do. But I miss some sausage biscuits and gravy. I do, you know? So anyway, I'm excited. We'll see. I don't know if he's going to do it or not, but he may. Would you guys watch Alex's channel if he made a channel? The only thing is it's like, how he is in real life doesn't translate to camera. Like, he's had to do some videos for work, and he's very much like, hi, how are you? And like, it doesn't translate sometimes. Like, it does kind of on my videos because he's more comfortable now with it than he was before. But like, it would be interesting to see how his videos come across. And of course, I would want to be right there directing it, you know, because I'm such a control freak. I want to be like, Alex, amp it up a little bit. Like, come on, be who you really are in real life. You know what I mean? He'd be like, just let me do my thing. So I'm going to listen. If he does it, I will tell you this. This will be my 2 cents. Of course, I will market the shit out of it on my own channel and tell everybody to follow it. I'm not stupid. I would want people to follow my husband's channel. Why wouldn't I? But I won't have anything really, unless he asks me to be in a video, I won't be putting my 2 cents into it. I'll let him do it exactly how he wants to. And that's very much creatively how our lives have worked. Like, you know, we really don't ever get involved in the other person's creative process. The only time that I can think that he ever really, it's starting to snow a lot now. The only time that he ever really got involved in mine was before I started writing my book. I had all these different ideas, and he looked at me one night and he goes, just pick one and go with it. He was like, but pick one. Because every night at dinner, you're talking about 5 different ideas. Just pick one and go with it. And then, like, that same dinner, I was talking about, like, and I really didn't know where I wanted my book to go. Like, I didn't really have in my head, like, a direction of what I wanted, like, the underlying theme to be. And he said to me, and at that time, was like when I was, just gotten back going into meetings, and I was really thinking a lot about my mom and grieving a lot. And he goes, why don't you use this is like such a moment, but he was like, why don't you use that creative process cathartically to work through grief? And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like one of those like Scooby-Doo moments. It's totally like that. And I was like, God, he's so right, And then that was where, in my book, Danny becomes a twin, and his identical twin brother died instantly because I didn't need his brother in the book. I needed the process to occur. And, it was like, and Alex gave that to me. And that's where I think sometimes discussions about our creative process is great, but we never step on each other's toes and tell the other person what to do or how to do it. Like, oh, you should do this, or, you should do that, or, you need, we never say those kinds of things. Because I think as soon as we said something like that, the other person would be like, I need what? You know what I mean? We're kind of dominant personalities, if you haven't been able to tell that so far. Look what I just found. I found my cotton candy lip gloss I forgot I had. That is perfection. See, then I start like reeling, and then I'm like, then Alex could start his own channel, and then we could have a vlog channel that we do together, and then it would just be us as a vlog, and then I would have my own vlog channel, and then I'd have 15 channels. It's too much. The thing is now, it's like, because I thought, well, if he was willing to do that, then 3 days of the week we could do like vlogs completely all together, where he shared the camera half the day and I shared it the other half the day, like Will and RJ from Shep 689 used to do it back in the day. But I don't want my vlogs to be 5 or 10 minutes long. I just don't. I like my long ass vlogs. I really enjoy them. I'm kind of real protective of them. I enjoy driving around and talking forever. This is good for me. I like this. This is fun. And I'm not willing to give up, y'all. I'm not willing to you know what I mean? I stopped myself there, and I don't know why. Y'all are my people. I don't know that I want to give you up. I love you. You know what I mean? I love our late night conversations. Except that it always wakes my ass up, and now I was tired, and now I'm wide awake. I'm listening to that Flight Attendant by Chris. I can't pronounce that guy's name, but anyway, it is really good. I don't know what happened, but I listened to an hour of it last night, and it got really good. Oh my God, let me tell you the rabbit hole I fell down to. Okay, now y'all know I'm obsessed with serial killer stuff back in the day, right? But I think there's 3 of them in the series, and they're about Eileen Wuornos, who was the first female serial killer. Y'all know who I'm talking about? They made the movie Monster about her, Lee Wuornos. Anyway, if you guys want to see some fantastic documentaries and you've never seen them before, they're on Netflix. And you have to start with the first one, which is called The Selling of a Serial Killer. And the second one is called The Life of a Serial Killer. I can't remember. I don't know what the third one's called. But they're very well done. They're really, and they're so, I don't know. But I watched the first one last night. I'd forgotten all about it. And that's where the social worker in me really kicks in. There's a part in it where she's talking to the court and to the press, and she's like, y'all want to make me into a Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm not a Jeffrey Dahmer. And she's like this guy wrote a book about her, and they said, because her mom died when she was 3 months old, and her dad died in prison when she was 4, because he had sodomized a 7-year-old. And so she killed all these older men. I think she killed 7 of them. She shot them point blank, but she was prostituting, and so they were clients of hers. And this guy that wrote this book said that she basically it was just her killing her father over and over and over again. If you looked at it from a therapeutic point of view. And it was interesting because she just not making any excuses for her, and I think that what she did was horrible. But you have to watch all three of them kind of in their entirety to understand what I'm about to say. But, like, she didn't have a chance. She never had a chance, you know? And, I feel like I've worked with so many people in my life that just didn't have a chance. But I'm also very much a believer, like the movie Precious, you know, which was based on the book Push. It's a true story. Like, I always used to say this to people, like, if Precious can make it, anybody can make it, you know, like, I think in life we have to stop making excuses for our conditions and turn our wounds into wisdom. You know, I really do believe that. And, I think each of us out there, you know, has a story. Like, I've always said that, you know, we all have a story. You have a story, I have a story, we all have a story. What's your story? And I said that to Alex tonight, you know, like I said, when you do your, like, what's your story gonna be? He's like, what do you mean, what's my, I said, well, we all have a story, like, what do you have to tell? He's like, well, that's not what my channel is gonna be about. And that's where I, like, back down, you know, I was like, let him do his thing. But, like, we all have our story, you know, and each of our stories are important. And I think, like, I did that video today on my main channel about Glitter Forever 17, and, you know, like, she, like, I feel like very much has kind of lost herself, but, like, she put out this tweet, and in the tweet, she was talking about how, like, she doesn't feel validated by Now, this is going to be a different take on this whole thing, just so you know, if you watch that video. But that she didn't feel basically what she said was, Playlist Live wouldn't give her a hotel room. And then she hashtagged worthless. That they would never, like, make her feel the way she wanted to feel. You know, it's nobody else's job in this world to make you feel the way that you should feel. Okay? First of all. But, you know, I think that so many of us do seek validation from other people, that she's got 3.4 million subscribers, and that's not enough, you know? And I think, like, each of us has a story, but once we start getting honest about our story and we tell our truth, you know, that it was like I was in this meeting tonight, and this guy, the newcomer in the group that has like 45 days, when we were talking about anger and rage, and he said, I think the only way through anger and rage is to tell our truth, to tell our story, to own our truth, to back away from the fear and to face it. And then we're no longer afraid, and therefore it doesn't have to come out in anger and rage. And I was like looking at him, and I was like, damn, from the mouth of babes. I mean, like, you know, like, that's so true. The way to get through everything in life is by owning your story, owning your truth, and to stop making excuses for the conditions of your life. But that doesn't happen overnight, you know? I still fall into that. It doesn't happen for any of us real easily. We have to do a lot of work on it, you know? So anyway, but I would recommend those documentaries if you guys haven't seen them before. I'm now down to 1% of battery, and I'm almost at 50 minutes, so I think that I am going to bid you farewell, and I'll keep you updated on the Alex channel stuff. I'm very excited about it. Oh my God. But I can't show him that I'm that excited, see? Do you know what I mean? It would be fun, though. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a wonderful spring. It's like nasty-ass weather in Indiana. Snow, cold, windy, blustery, blustery day outside. Oh my God, when's it going to be nice and the tulips are going to come up? I love tulips. I love tulips so much. I'm ready for the spring tulips. Last year at this time, we had all kinds of flowers and stuff. Anyway. Well, alright, you guys. I'm going to get off here now and listen to a little bit of my audiobook before I go to bed. And I will see you tomorrow. I love you. Bye.